apparently there's a myth that there's a rage quit button on the controls in the cockpit of every ship. This myth should be pretty easy to prove, so let's just take a close look, and there actually is a button for rage quitting. Look at that. Oh hey, there's even a Capcom button. Starfield is a huge game, and I mean huge. There's definitely a few loading screens, but we're not gonna get into that today. No, what I wanted to get into today are some little known facts about the game, as well as testing a few myths I've been seeing. Some of these have either been busted or confirmed by the community, but I had to test a few of them out myself. If you know of any myths we should test, or some that we might get wrong, let us know in the comments below. Let's get into it. Can you fly down to a planet? The idea here is simple. If we are in orbit around a planet, can we actually fly down to the surface? Luckily, video game writer, journalist, and YouTuber Alana Pierce tested this one out on her own channel by trying to reach Pluto, and it took her 6 hours, but she finally reached the surface and proceeded to clip right through the 3D model. And this is how you make Pluto disappear. You know, like what NASA's been trying to do with Pluto in school textbooks for years. Anyway, this one is busted. You can survive on planets if you take your spacesuit off. I mean, this one is just common sense. Of course you're going to suffocate if you take your spacesuit off on a planet without breathable air. However, Starfield actually has a system in place where you won't actually die when you run out of oxygen. You'll accumulate CO2, and then once that's full, you'll start losing health. But could you survive on a planet with no air and just 1 HP? Well, as you can see, I have no more oxygen left, I'm slowly losing health, and I'm gone. So yeah, that one's busted. Halo Reach is in Starfield. This one I actually find fascinating. You see, both Starfield and the Halo universe have based their solar systems on actual stars discovered by NASA. One of these star systems is Epsilon Eridani. The star is exceptional because of its distance to our own solar system, Sol, as well as its relative similarity in size to our own sun. In fact, it may be one of the closest solar systems to us that may support life. In the Halo games, Reach is the second planet from the sun in the Eridani system. It was one of the first planets inhabited by humanity besides Earth in the Halo universe. In Starfield's universe, that honor goes to Jemison in the Alpha Centauri system. But if you travel to the Epsilon system, the planet Eridani 2 is also the second planet, features tropical forests, rolling hills, icy tundras, and has a breathable atmosphere.
Oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen. It's all here.
Thank you, Sarah. So either Bethesda had the same idea as Bungie, or someone on Starfield's dev team is a big Halo fan. I'm gonna say this one's busted though, cause saying that this is the same planet from Halo is a bit of a reach. Please keep watching. You can pull the hair of NPCs. You ever want to be a schoolyard bully? If you answered yes, please seek therapy. I'm serious, don't do that. But if we're talking video games, you can apparently pull the hair of NPCs. Most easily would be Sarah. I mean, she's my wife in this game, so there's very few reasons I would have to do this. But it's true. Just like picking up objects, all you have to do is find a stray bit of hair and hold down A. Kinda useless, but still cool that it's in the game. She doesn't even say anything about it. Either way, this is confirmed. You can visit landmarks on Earth. The first thing I wanted to do in Starfield, besides all the cool shipbuilding, making a Megazord, was visit Earth and check out the old homestead. Well, unfortunately, the old home isn't looking so good. In the universe of Starfield, the planet's magnetosphere collapsed in 2203, just 180 years from now, and the atmosphere dissipated into space, turning the planet into a barren wasteland. I mean, at least we didn't nuke it to death. Fallout. While most of the landscape is pretty empty, you can actually unlock specific landing zones that feature iconic landmarks of the past, which are all tied to reading certain books. Oliver Twist lets you visit the London Shard, The Price of Destiny unlocks the St. Louis Arch, and more, like the Empire State Building. Okay, so maybe this is more Easter egg than myth, but it is still confirmed. You can get away with stealing by placing a bucket on the head of NPCs. This is a classic from the days of Skyrim. In that game, all you had to do was put a bucket on a shopkeeper's head and then you could steal everything that wasn't nailed down, because they could not see you. So, does the same trick work in Starfield, you might ask? I mean, it is the same engine after all. They call it Creator Engine 2, but come on, Todd, who do you think you're kidding? So, does it work? No, it is unfortunately busted. You can build an outpost outside New Atlantis. Okay, so the answer is yes. I can literally just hop over the walls and make an outpost, but that's not actually what this myth is. The myth is that you can go into space and land just outside of New Atlantis, enough that you can still see the city. YouTuber Luke Stevens did some intense testing with this and discovered that the planets do generate terrain based on the exact pixel you choose, but since the landing zones cover that up, he had to use console commands to select just the right pixel next to New Atlantis. Doing so, he was able to land what looks to be just a few miles away from the city. So, I would say this one is confirmed. You won't get arrested if you attack an NPC with a carried object. Honestly, this one is weird. I would say that I have thoroughly tested this and cannot show you any proof that I've done so because the monetization people are watching. The idea here is if you attack someone with a box or dumbbell, again, not saying I did that, YouTube, that would be cause for concern. But if someone happened to do that and hit another NPC, they would let you continue on your crime spree without any pushback. And based on my testing, it's inconclusive. I'm confused, because I've seen other people do this online, but in my testing, trying to recreate this, it didn't work. It just would bounce off people. So maybe I'm doing it wrong, maybe it got patched out. Let me know in the comments, but for now, this one is busted. Vasco knows your name. So, the rumor is that Vasco can say your name no matter what your name is, and the idea here is being that Vasco is voiced by an AI, and it can say whatever is fed into it. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but also to maybe relieve you of your concerns, Vasco is actually voiced by actor Jake Green, an actual honest-to-goodness real person, and no, he did not record every possible name under the sun, and no, he did not feed his voice into an AI, at least not intentionally. Listen, I know I'm an adorable little robot, but even I have a real voice. I mean, look at this guy. Adorable, right? No, what Bethesda did is have Jake record a long list of common names and funny names so that if you name your characters one of these,
Captain,
or one of these,
Captain,
he will say it correctly, similar to how they did Cogsworth in Fallout 4. If you have an uncommon name like Kino, unfortunately, then Vasco will just address you as Captain. So I guess this is busted, unless you have a name on Vasco's list, in which case, yeah, he does know it. So both? You can make an invincible starship. When I first started Starfield, I really struggled with space combat. I was just, admittedly, not very good at it. That did change once I built better ships, but what if there's a way to create an invincible ship? And I'm not just talking about a ship with a high enough level, massive shields and hull. No, I'm talking never get hit kind of invincible. Well, YouTuber Rifle Gaming did just that. It was discovered that enemy ships exclusively aim only at the center of your ship. So, what if you just created a ship that didn't have a center? Rifle's ship will occasionally get lucky shots on it, but overall the enemy ships just seem to shoot right past the ship. It may not be the prettiest ship in the galaxy, but at the very least, this one is confirmed. You can steal anything with a bucket. Okay, we all knew this one was coming. These clips are all over the internet, and it's even a known trick Skyrim players used back in the day. But I had to test this one for myself. The idea is to get a trash can or anything that can hold items, grab another item, and push things around and just slide your ill-gotten goods into the bucket. It's probably the least stealthy way to steal things, but all the NPCs don't seem too bothered by it. So I chalk this one up to being confirmed. There's still a ton of things in this game that we just haven't even uncovered yet. I mean, there's a whole New Game Plus system that is radically different from most post-game content, and I haven't even touched that yet. So, if you know of any Starfield myths we should test, let us know in the comments below. Also, if you want to be a friend of the channel like these lovely folks, join our Patreon and see our videos early. Thanks for watching, friends.